Hey there, welcome to Inside Singing with Erica and Joy with One Voice Vocal Studio. Thanks for coming in and checking out this video. This is the first video of several videos that we have planned for you, so stay tuned for more. But today
we will be talking about getting out of our heads when we perform. This is something that every single person who has ever stood on the stage to speak, perform, dance, do magic tricks, anything, any kind of a performer will always have this issue. Several reasons, which we'll get into in a moment, but one of the ways where you can maybe figure out that this is a problem for you is if you're on stage, let's say, and all of a sudden you can't breathe.
It's a problem.
Or you go to start your song and what are the words again?
Yeah.
Or
that's my problem. Yes.
The glazed over deer in the headlights look. Or you get the nervous twitches with your hands or your arms or things like that. You feel your throat tightening up, you're not relaxed, your jaw clenches up, you're tense, and all of a sudden everything's gone all wrong, and this is the worst moment you can ever imagine.
And you'll hear things, like your voice will do things that you did not plan for it to do.
So that's something that we all deal with, and a lot of it comes from different reasons. What are some of the reasons that you have come across that happens?
I think it all is based on what our expectations are. You know, we expect something from ourselves, and usually it's just too broad. You know, we set a goal for ourselves that's more like, I want to be awesome, or I want to do a great job. And the problem with that is, you know, how do you compare what is a good job and what isn't a good job? And some of it is we are thinking about, you know, what that other person expects from us. You know, we're trying to please the person that's watching us, or we're thinking, what are they thinking? What are they going to think of me? Do they like me? Do they like my voice? And so it all is based on this idea of what we expect from ourselves and what we think others expect from us. And so I think we kind of have to create a place for ourselves when we're rehearsing to be one, gracious to ourselves as we're doing that.
So important.
But two, just providing that time to really sit down and say, okay, in this specific part of the song, my goal is to have this quality, or this, you know, use this technique to achieve this, right? And we can get into techniques and stuff later. You can come and talk to us and we'll give you ideas for specific issues that you might be having. But when it comes down to it, it's having goals that are attainable.
The important thing is to make the distinction between ambition and goals. Because, for example, I can walk into an audition and my goal in my head,
the grand goal,
could be, I want blank role. That's my goal. However, that's never going to work, because yes, you might get the role, but you also might not, and it has nothing to do with your skill. It has nothing to do with your performance, really. It has everything to do with the director and what they want for the show. So that example is more of an ambition. Goals need to be something in your own control, right? So you can't go into an audition and say, my goal is to get this role, because at the end of the day, that's not up to you, no matter how brilliant you are. You could be Sutton Foster or whoever, and you still might not get the role because you wouldn't be right for it. So it's not attainable in the sense that it's not in your control. So it's more of an ambition than a goal. So that's a really important distinction. The second thing, which I know we've talked about a lot, is just the preparation aspect of it.
Being prepared can help you to get out of your head, because you've already done all the groundwork. So once you've done the groundwork and you're in that position where you're performing in front of an audience, or you're performing in front of two people for an audition, if you're at that point, that's when you need to say, okay, I've done everything I can do to this point. Now I need to let all of that go and just be present, be in the moment, and share your story. Because that's essentially what we're doing when we're singing. We have a story that we're telling, a message that we're trying to get across to our audience. And that is the most important thing, because we need to be affecting other people. Because in the end, it's not about you. When you're on stage, it's about who you're singing to. How are you changing their life. I mean, that's a big way of saying it, but how are you changing their life within this material that you've been given or that you've chosen to use?
One of the things that has been and continues to be a stumbling block for me personally is the whole idea of comparison. And so that's something that we really need to get right in our own heads and just know nobody else is you, nobody else is me, nobody else is Erica. We all have different voices, we all have different sounds, we all have different parts to play, and it's really important to understand nobody else out there has what you have to offer. And so, I mean, it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter what size you are, it doesn't matter what faces you make while you're singing, it doesn't matter any of those things.
I make a lot of weird faces.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. But it really comes down to knowing who you are, knowing your value, understanding the true uniqueness of your voice, and not just your singing voice, but your personality, the way you speak, the way you come across, what
your
you have to offer.
Exactly.
What you have to offer to somebody is different than anybody else, and your experience, your background, all of those things affect the story that you tell when you perform, whether it's singing or dancing or whatever.
So basically our concept for One Voice is based on this, that you have a unique voice and you have a unique experience to share with the world. Someone somewhere needs your voice, and that's the biggest thing that we have to say about comparing yourself to others. Those are the key things. So just be intentional about your process, be intentional about your rehearsal times, being prepared. So you can be prepared by setting attainable goals
that are in your control.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, get out of your head, trust the process, do those couple of steps that we've been talking about, which does take a lot of work, and don't be discouraged if it takes a while, because it takes practice. It takes practice to not compare. It takes practice to be comfortable. It takes practice to let it go.
And it takes practice to understand what an attainable goal is for you. But if you have things that have worked for you, we would love if you shared and commented below. If you have questions or if you have topics that you would like us to discuss, also let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you soon.
See you later.